Okay, so that should have been an easy fix. So now over here should be good. 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 Okay, that's what it was. Good to double check. Good to have a tester. Because that would have worked. However, I would have had problems. And who knows what it could have done. Because it could have screwed up the whole system on that circuit in the house. So anyway, we know at that point it's okay now, so I can put it together. It's always good to test. And as much as I watched it and looked at it twice, I didn't even notice it because naturally I got a little cluster in there. And I was just looking at a black and a white being on the plug. Not so much noticing, oh shit, it's on the wrong side. So, alright, so we got that done. We do. So now, let me put these all back in. Seeing it's unplugged, so now I can work a little bit more safely. Safety is the key. I had the wife and I owned a two-family house in another town, and for a while we were looking for another home for ourselves, we lived on the first floor and rented out the second floor. And it was originally a one-family, 3-story, 13-room home. And bathroom on every floor, living room. There was no kitchen on the second floor. One kitchen which was on the first floor, and a living room area, and a small relieve yourself type of bathroom. And sink and a toilet. And we decided to buy it and make it a two-family, a legal two. So we had to put 2 new furnaces in because I wanted gas, I didn't want oil. And see, with oil, especially if you're renting property, you really don't want oil, because if the tenants have a habit of running it out all the time, you're going to have a lot of problems with your furnace, because it just ain't going to keep going every time it sucks up crap. So it's easier just to have gas. It's going to be better for you in the long run, because if the gas gets turned off, it just gets turned off, and there's not going to be any real damage done to the furnace. As far as the oil setting, doing nothing, and just making a mess of things. And you don't have to worry about the smell of oil, the oil truck coming, looking, having a clear space for the oil driver delivery. It's just a lot easier. So we decided, well, as long as we're going to make this a legal two, we're going to run 2 new gas furnaces. And they had a hot water system in there. And seeing that we were going gas, I didn't want it to have, separate boilers. So I said, you know what, we're just going to take all that out, and we're going to make it a gas system, gas hot water, and we're going to have all new ductwork put in for hot air. This way we don't have to worry about it, and that's what we did. So we put in a new kitchen, both upstairs and downstairs, because it's going to be legal too. So we needed 2 kitchens. We needed a complete bathroom downstairs as well as one upstairs, and the 3rd floor where the sleeping quarters were for the upstairs, had a half bath. It did have a shower. We put a shower in up there as well. Because anybody that's going to be moving in up there and needs 3 bedrooms are probably going to need more than 1 shower or bathtub. So seeing that it was up there, it was easy just to put in a shower on the 3rd floor in the half bath. So the half bath had a shower in it. And we did the whole thing, and we had all new electrical brought in there. At the time, we brought in 2 100 amp services. That's all we really needed. Okay. We didn't need 200 amp service in there. You know, these are tenants. They're not going to be doing anything to where they need 200 amp service. So we brought in 2 100s. Each floor had its own 100 amp service. And then we had all the electrical done, and we did basically the whole house over again. Then we had to make a entrance. So we had to take the main entrance coming into the main living quarters or the 1st floor, and we had to separate it into 2 entrances, one to go up and one to go into the 1st floor. It was a lot of work. We got away relatively cheap. We bought the house for $80,000. A friend of mine was selling it. He was moving. Most of his kids were out of the house, so he decided they were going to move. And it was right across the street from one of my businesses that I was in partners with, one of my endeavors. So this was nice. It was right across the street. So I can keep an eye on the store when we're closed. And if I had to go over there, I could. The bad thing was people that knew I was there, you know, let me go knock on this door because I need my radio fixed. You know, oh, timeout. If I'm closed, I'm closed. You know, don't be knocking on my door. But once we got that established, everything was okay. But we had all new electrical and everything put in the house. We bought the house. I don't remember. 50,000? I don't remember now. Oh God, boy, am I getting old. Might have been 80. Anyway, we bought the house. I'll say 80,000 because I really don't remember. Oh, I know what it was. Originally, before you had a real estate agent involved, he says, I'll sell her for 50 grand, you know. So I just got to get out of it. He says, I want to move, and I don't want to have it sitting there. He says, I owe 40 on it. I'll sell it for 50. Well, the house was worth 50. The house was worth 70 or 80. The house was worth 90, actually. Then he gets an agent involved. All right, Tucker. He gets an agent involved, and the next thing you know, we paid 70 for it. That's what it was. Because the agent was saying it was worth 80. You should have asked 80. That's what he said. He said, you should have asked 80. He says. So Josh says, well, I already told him 50, and I know the guy, you know. So he got a hold of me, and we talked, and I said, well, Josh, I understand. I really do. You know, so I don't mind, you know, spending the 70. But I'm not going to spend any more than that, so I'll leave it up to you. Anyway, we bought it for 70. And we put 38,000 into it, which wasn't bad considering, you know, we had to do new furnaces, new hot water, new plumbing, new electric. Basically, the whole house was new. You know, and then naturally a lot of the walls inside, we redid that. We, you know, remodeled, we took walls down, we put walls up. You know, we wanted to make it an open floor plan on the 2nd floor, and, you know, things like that. So we put 38,000 into it. Now, myself, My wife helped a lot, but she was working, but she helped a lot after work. Myself, and there was a town, well, I don't want to say he was a town drunk, but he used to drink. He really didn't have a real place to stay. And he was, believe it or not, a carpenter. It's just that his drinking got involved with his carpentry, and he just couldn't hold on a job because, they didn't want to have to worry about insurance reasons and all that. And he was walking by one day, and I didn't even know the guy, to be honest with you, but he was walking by one day, and he seen us working. And he stopped and talked, and, I talked to everybody anyway, so I'm always looking for a reason to stop and take a break. And so I started talking to him, and that's when I found out that he was a carpenter, and he had a few issues. And where are you staying? He says, well, right now I'm staying with a friend. He says, I'm there for another couple weeks, and then I got to look for another place, and, stuff like that. And, he's kind of crying on my shoulder, but he's not. I got to force it out of him, so he's not looking to get in my pocket. But I found out he was a carpenter. So I said, well, geez, it's nice to know. And, he said, well, I got to go, and he went on his way. So now, meanwhile, I'm talking to a cop that I know who did plumbing. He wasn't a licensed plumber, but he knew the plumbing licensing, and the plumbing codes. And the inspector in the town also knew him, so he used to do a lot of side work. Like firemen sometimes will do a lot of painting. You know what I mean? Well, Louis did a lot of plumbing, and he was good at it, so it would pass, the inspection and things. So we got a hold of him, and we're talking to him about the plumbing and this and that, and I said, Louis, what's the story with this guy here? And I told him about the guy. I don't want to mention his name, just in case, but he said, he says, he was a hell of a carpenter, he says, but it's hard for him to hold on a job because he doesn't drink a lot, but every now and then he'll go on a drinking binge, and then he ends up coming to work drunk or half hungover, and and he's telling me the story about him. And he said it's a shame because he's a good carpenter, and yada yada yada. Well, this is back in '87, I think it was, 86, 87. Yeah, 86, 87. So I said, oh, all right. So meanwhile, Louis is doing the plumbing. And this guy walks by again the next day. And, he's basically in the same clothes, and such, So I started talking to him. I said, listen, I got a proposition for you. I says, you want to work? I said, I'll give you $15, and it's a lot of money back then, $15 an hour under the table. Now, like I said, we're talking 86. So to get $15 under the table was a pretty good amount of money. So I says, but if you come to work with alcohol in your breath, or you're not coherent, you can't talk to me or understand me, and I see you stumbling around, you're out of here. I says, I'll get you out of here just as quick as I brought you in. I said, so if you want to do it, this is fine. So he says, oh, great, yeah. So I gave him a job. And he helped his side of the bargain, which was good. And he actually started to come around a little bit. And Louis actually said, I was surprised to see him sober as long as he has been. I said, well, I don't know, maybe we just hit it off, maybe we didn't. Maybe he's finally come to a senses. Who knows? All I know is, I'm giving him a fair wage for a fair job. And at that point, I gave him an ultimatum, and he's living up to his end of the bargain. So, that's good. That's good. So it got to the point now to where the house was getting to where you can actually stay in it. And we had power, naturally, because, we had water, because all that's done. Like I say, we were putting new furnaces, new electrical, and everything else in the house. So, there was a couple of 3 weeks, 4 weeks there when we didn't have any utilities in the house. So now it got to a point to where we had hot water, we had a furnace, we had electricity. The gas was turned on because we had to work on it as well. We wanted to be comfortable while we were working on it. So all this was basically right where we needed to be. Let's check these out while I'm talking to you here. Hold on. So I said to him, I said, listen, it's up to you. You've been straight, you've been clean, you've been living up to the bargain. You haven't been coming to work smelling of alcohol. You actually taken a bath, which I appreciate. You had clean clothes on. I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. If you want, you can stay here until we're done. So basically, you can keep an eye on the house at the same time. It's got hot water, it's got heat, it's got electric. So if you want to stay here, I don't know if you have anything to stay, but I'm telling you now, once I start putting the house up for rent, you're going to have to look for a place. So I don't want you to get real comfortable. I just want you to know that, oh, this is great. He says, how long do you... I said, well, we're talking a few more months. I said, because, we're doing it in our spare time. We're not rushing here. So he had a sleeping bag, and he had a 15-inch color TV. And I told him I'm not putting cable in for him. I said, forget the cable. I says, but if you want to put an antenna up on the back porch or something, that's up to you. So, seeing that I had a communication shop, I had an antenna there that I gave him. So he was able to get some of the local channels. So he had a place to stay, and and he stayed there for a while. And I still gave him $15 an hour while he was working on the house. Now, sometimes he would do work at night because he's bored just sitting there. And so, well, geez, come on, how can I judge what you're doing if I'm not here? Now I can trust the guy. I can see what he had done. So I have a pretty good idea that he is doing things, but I had to come to some type of an agreement with this guy, because I don't want to be paying him to do things at night when I'm not there, and then have him working during the day and being tired because he was up all night working, supposedly. So, at that point, I said to him, listen, if you work at night, I don't want you to work more than 2 hours because I'm not going to pay you for more than 2 hours. And I don't want you working every night. All right? Relax. Watch TV. You got a TV. Relax. All right? Later. Well, if I'm not doing something, I'm going to want to drink. I go, well, I can understand that. I said, it's a hobby. It's a habit, rather. I said, but, you're going to have to fight it off. Sooner or later, you got to deal with your demons. So, this is something you're going to have to think about. But I can't have you working at night when I'm not here. If something happens, you're going to get, you're going to get me in trouble. You can get hurt. I says, you can cause a problem with the house. I mean, anything can happen. Accidents happen. They're called accidents. I says, and then, if you're up all night working, you're not going to be ready to go during the day. So I said, you gotta think about these things and find something else to deal with and work with. And he understood it. And he didn't go back to drinking at that point while he was staying under my roof.
There is no reason why there's not a deaf team member, at least one, here helping us. Thank you. Okay. Yes. Okay, easy,
But So this is working. So tomorrow I'll think about wiring it up. I still got to make the plates for it. So he stayed there and he helped out, and he was doing quite well for himself, living rent free. You know, the conditions weren't the best, but he had heat, hot water, electric, TV. You know, what am I looking for? Oh, plugs. So he had everything that he needed. The plugs are out here. And plus, he's taking home $500-600 a week under the table, cash. And he's not drinking it away. As a matter of fact, at one point, it was about, I'm looking for a couple of plates here. I don't want metal plates. I want plastic, because I gotta cut them. There. Well, that ain't gonna work. I need one more. Plastic. He came up to me and he said, about 2 weeks in, he came up to me and he had said to me that, is there any way that I can give him X amount of dollars a week and hold the rest of it? So he didn't have it on him. Who the hell just pulled in the yard? Alright, let me go see who's here. I'll be right back.